Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Thank you everyone who's been watching the channel of late, who's been liking the videos, subscribing, and sharing their thoughts, loves, hopes, and dreams. There's going to be some videos coming out that are very community-based in the very near future, i.e. I'm going to be doing the what I'd actually like to spend my money on video, rather than what we actually spend our money on video with Wargaming. And I'm going to be doing some videos featuring a few more of the patrons. There's a couple of patrons in this HELLCAT video, which is just bloody lovely, as well as some top tier stuff. We're going to get an IS-7 video out this week, streams, lots of other stuff. It's really good. The channel's going well, very vibrant, lots of activity, lots of love. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the HELLCAT though, and the HELLCAT, man, this has been one of the most requested videos on channel forever, and I don't know, for one reason or another, there's always been something in the way of doing a HELLCAT video. And it's a shame because I never really drove the HELLCAT a lot, and because of that I didn't have a lot of time for it. And after playing the tank for, I think I played it for like 5 games, won every game, and averaged about 2,000 average damage at tier 6. I realized that the reason it's been so heavily requested over the years is that it's a freaking good tank. It's amazing to me that after all this time in game, I can still be so surprised when I find vehicles that are just really freaking amazing. And that is this little number here, the HELLCAT, the HELLCAT, the tier 6 American turreted TD. Now it comes just before the 25-2 and just after the M10 Wolverine, and it's got, on the face of it, it doesn't look like an incredible vehicle. It's not like it screams OP or super strong or anything like that. In fact, it looks like quite a fragile little flower. The tank itself has very, very poor armor. And that's fine because it does other things really, really well. But it's really mobile. 65 kilometers an hour as a top end TD speed is freaking fast. Like, so very, very fast. And in terms of traverse, you can get this thing up to nearly 47 degrees of traverse on the tracks. You couple that with a 20-degree traverse turret, and all of a sudden you have one of the most nimble TDs anywhere in the tier, and certainly one of the most sneaky strong tanks in tier 6. It's not a tank that you look at immediately and you go, well, that'll destroy, because obviously it can just take shots, or it's got the most accurate gun or whatever. But after you've played it for a while, and after you've built up your equipment and all that kind of thing, you realize this is a tank that can dominate. And I'm not using the term lightly, it can dominate. Coupled with that really, really good mobility is the gun depression. It has 10 degrees of gun depression. Now, I'm going to show you a few videos. This is from BennyBot 2000, the middle BennyBot, not the oldest BennyBot, not the youngest BennyBot, but BennyBot 2000. You might remember BennyBot 2000's little brother was on the community tab of the YouTube channel, where he's Owl Hootie McHootface, the class mascot. I put him up on YouTube, and BennyBot won. And that HELLCAT there, that's not the way you drive a HELLCAT, right? The way BennyBot's playing the tank right now is pretty much the way you want to drive the HELLCAT. You don't have a lot of hit points, 850 hit points, and you have absolutely no armor. And what that means is when you are spotted, you need to be behind hard cover, not soft cover, but hard cover, whether it be a rock, a hill, the carcass of another tank, absolutely anything. Because there are some tanks at this tier that can take all your hit points, literally all your hit points. Tanks like KV2s at tier 6, at tier 7 you get joined by tanks like the SU-152, even tanks like the SU-100Y, the box tank that you can see on the other side of the equation there, can take most of your hit point pool. And that fragile flower armor profile, coupled with the complete lack of hit points, means you've got to be very, very careful, and you've got to use the tank to snipe and work your way around the battlefield. And BennyBot 2000 is doing exactly that. He is dominating this area, this area of engagement. And Every time he gets spotted, he is jumping back behind hard cover before he unleashes Hell Maximus and starting the process up all over again. Now, a lot of people carry on like pork chops saying, oh, you're meant to be like, that's cowardly and all that kind of thing. There is an axiom in the armored warfare game. You want mobility, you want firepower, you want armor. But you can't have all three at the same time. Not in reality anyway. And if you've got to give up one of those things and it's armor, then you've got to play the tank accordingly. This tank has fantastic mobility. It has fantastic firepower. It doesn't have anything resembling or remotely close to a good armor profile. And that means that you play it like it is a one-shot fragile tank. And if you are aware of that fact, and if you are aware of the qualities of the tank, and you treat it as a very, very gentle, very, very soft TD, then you will come and wreck stuff. You want to conserve those hit points. So if at the end of the game you have to make trades, at least you're making trades that you can win. And BennyBot does that. He does very, very well in this game. He's going to thunder out here and tear this SU-100 Y apart. Now let's talk a little bit about the 90mm AT gun, the M3 gun. 8.38 rounds a minute is fairly good, but it is by no way, shape or form close to the DPM that you get out of the top end of this tree, of this tier. Tanks like the Churchill gun carrier with 2,581 DPM, for instance, spectacular. Tanks like the AT8 with, not the AT8, sorry, the ARL V39 with 2,300 DPM are spectacular. And then there's tanks like the Jagdpanzer IV, which is flat out ridiculous at 3,265 DPM, which is 73% more than the HELLCAT. And you soon start to realize that the tank quite simply does not possess the kind of gun that will allow it to burn stuff down. So you've got to be clever with the way you play. 225 alpha on your 90mm gun means you want a peekaboo, especially when you're in tier 7 matches. In tier 7 matches, everyone has more DPM than this tank. The firepower in this, in fact, is not great in terms of just raw smash damage. You know, that whole let's burn stuff down, let's melt faces, let's fry the tank up close and just drop the hammer like a Jagdpanzer or an E25 or a Comet or anything like that. No, it's completely the opposite kind of DPM. It's like a KV-1S's firepower, where you want to do a whole lot of peekabooming or long-range, accurate gunnery. And it does that. 0.317 dispersion allows you to do that. Your firepower is coupled with a wonderful, wonderful camo profile. So you can be sneaky, and absolutely hang back. And you can see our Amigo here is doing exceptional work. Gus is actually running the camo net. Now, there is a very, very good argument to be made that that is a great and exceptionally effective tool to run on this tank. In fact, I didn't run it, but I regret not running it because I looked at all the positional play in the videos which I didn't include a lot of them, but I had a lot of 2,500, 2,700, 2,900 games in this tank. And in very, very few instances was there an example of me spotting my own targets. It's not that kind of a tank. But you can see the way you can move it around the battlefield very, very quickly, very, very effectively. And the fact that it's got a turret as a TD means you're able to bring that gun to bear more than most. I talk about this all the time. Gun depression, mobility, camouflage, all these things are ways to make a tank that doesn't have massive effective damage output, not massive theoretical DPM, competitive in the game, because The theoretical DPM is one thing, but the actual effective damage output is completely something else. And the fact you've got a turret as well on a TD gun that's really accurate for its tier, 0.317 dispersion, and has really nice alpha damage for its tier, 225 alpha, shouldn't be overlooked. Whenever you've got a turreted TD, you pay the price of having that turret. They drop your DPM down just a little bit. Have a look at the T110E4. Have a look at the T30. These are the examples we use, unless you're talking about fantasy TDs like the Helsing, where you get armor, mobility, firepower, just everything. This doesn't get it. This needs to be clever, and this is a tier 7 game, and you can see that traverse coupled with the turret means that our amigo here was able to completely bamboozle that bloody light tank that was flying around like a lunatic. And because he was able to move the tank and move the turret at the same time, he was able to convincingly get shots in. Look at this, that's the mobility coming to the fore. That moving backwards and forwards in front of the gun is absolutely the mobility. Well done, Gus. Great play there. I'm going to show you one more game in the HELLCAT, and it's very much the same, but it's got a little bit of a funny finish on it. If you get up to that engine, the right Continental R975C4 that all these guys are running with, you really do get a lot more bang for your buck. I was going to show you a game with me doing this, but I didn't score quite as much damage, and it was a bit boring compared to this game. So I'm going to show you instead a game with, how do I say his name? Keo Logerman. Bob. No, Keo is doing great things here. He's in the exact ideal possession for the HELLCAT. I just want to apologise for all the people that have been asking me to do this review for such a long time, and who I never really paid the notice that they deserved, because they were right. This tank is a great little find. It's a tank that absolutely punches above its weight, that has a lot more bang for its buck than you appreciate at first sight. The ability of this tank to output damage while having 73% less DPM than a Jagdpanzer IV, and having the armor profile of a couple of wet pieces of tissue paper scratched together and pulled onto the chassis with rubber bands, is pretty important. And it's a testament to the way the game is designed and the way the game can be played, because you don't really expect this kind of performance from a lovely little number like the HELLCAT. It also looks pretty sweet. I really enjoyed the open top, the classic look of the HELLCAT. It does look rather classic. Now, you'll note our friend here, Keo, does not have a lot of AP left. And there are an awful lot of red tanks still in the fray. In fact, it's 2 tanks down a piece. And one of the tanks that is still remaining here on the right is actually AFK. He hasn't moved for quite some time, and I would suspect he won't be moving in the game at all. But what he is doing is acting as a honeypot. Ooh, clutch, 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 clutch. Want to get that KV2. When you're driving the HELLCAT, you want to clear KV2s, you want to clear SU-152s, you want to clear anything that has the kind of firepower to take all or most of your hit points in a single burst. He's down to 3 rounds of AP now. Absolutely desperate for a little bit more ammunition. This Type 58 has finally cleared the light tank that was AFK right next to Keo, but it's all too late. And while this might not be the most spectacular of games, it does highlight the damage output this thing can pump when given free rein at the back of the map. And it's very, very easy to drive this tank in this manner. In fact, it's one of the easiest drives for like a sniper kind of tank I've ever come across, because it's fast, it's quick, it's mobile, it's super agile. Its turret and traverse means if you start turning the tracks at the same time as you start turning the turret, you won't miss a whole hell of a lot of shots, or at least opportunities to take those shots. And you can see here, he has been pressing the button an awful lot of times 2 APCR rounds left. He's hit the adrenaline, slow loading, but he's going to get there and gets the kill. 3 kills. It's damning it with faint praise, but it should be taking a lot more than 3,500 damage to get the win, get the mastery in this red hot little number. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That's the HELLCAT. That's a little walk through what I consider one of the coolest tanks that I've had to review in the past wee while. Stick around. Please like the channel. Please subscribe. If you'd like to become a patron, do that. And until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.